Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 9, text number 67. Atmanam cha pravayasam akallaya visham patihi anam viraktaha pratishtad vimrishyannatmano gatim. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttānapada detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. Purport. This is a sign of a Rajarishi. King Uttānapada was very opulent, he was the emperor of the world, and these attachments were certainly very great. Modern politicians are not as great as kings like Maharaj Uttānapada because they get some political power for some days. They become so much attached to their position that they never retire unless they are removed from the force by cruel death or killed by some opposing political party. It is within our experience that politicians in India do not quit their positions until death. This was not the practice in olden days, as it is evident from the behavior of King Uttānapada. Immediately after installing his worthy son Dhruva Mahārāja on the throne, he left his home and palace. There are hundreds and thousands of instances like this in which kings in their mature age would give up their kingdom and go to the forest to practice austerity. Practice of austerity is the main business of human life. As Maharaj Dhruva practiced austerity in his early age, his father Maharaj Uttānapada in his old age also practiced austerity in the forest. In modern days, however, it is not possible to give up one's home and go to the forest to practice austerity, but if people of all ages would take shelter of the Krishna Consciousness movement and practice the simple austerities of no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, and chant the Hare Krishna mantra regularly by this practical method, it would be a very easy task to get salvation from this material world. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 4th Canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Dhruva Mahārāja Returns Home. So this is the standard Vedic stages of a successful human life, where the human being, he follows the 4 ashramas: brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. Even though this material world is by default makes one forgetful of Krishna, the Varṇāśrama system of social organization, where duties and regulations are prescribed for brahmacharis, grahasthas, vanaprasthas, sannyasis. Simply by following that, one would gradually develop the purpose of life through detachment. First of all, the living entities in this material world, like a fish out of the water, and trying to be happy here in these material bodies, totally in forgetfulness of Krishna. So to move away from the default thinking, feeling, willing, enjoying, acting, enjoying, for self-centered, body-centered happiness, body-centered pleasures. That's the default mode of everybody's material body. So to change that default mode, karmic mode, karmic means fruitive mode of acting, working. To change that default to something that makes us remember Krishna, and to transform it slowly towards being, desiring, thinking, feeling, willing, acting, experiencing. These are the functions of the soul. If we change default thinking, default feeling, willing, etc., from fruitive mentality or fruitive purposes in forgetfulness of Krishna, if it is transformed into thinking for Krishna, feeling for Krishna, willing for Krishna, doing for Krishna, desiring for Krishna, then that is ideal. That is the purpose of human life. In human life, we can do this switchover from a fruitive mode, one can come to devotion service mode in the human form of life, which is very rare among all the species of life. Among millions and millions and billions of jivatmas everywhere, the human population is so less. So a rare opportunity is given to change this default setting of our chittam. And this default setting becomes an austerity because of attachment. When the mind is attached to something, thinking it is me, this body is me, thinking that this bodily influences are my own decisions, thinking that my bodily impulses are my impulses, this aham mameti, everything centered around the body, material body, to change it to I am servant of Krishna, I am not this body. This body is meant to be engaged in service of the Lord. To change it, the mind rebels, because mind is very attached to something, thinking it's me, it's mine. So austerity of mind is the biggest austerity. Often we can easily do physical austerities. For instance, let's say Ekadashi. It is relatively easy to fast, but very difficult to think of Krishna whole day. There you require the mind to take up that austerity. So real austerity is austerity of the mind. And the entire Varnashrama system is gradually meant to give realization to the living entity, to get detached from illusion, and to go back to Godhead. The material life is designed like that. If some living entity wants to do it, if he wants to continue in his karma chakra, he can go on doing it. That is left to him. But at the same time, in the human form of life, he has got a rare opportunity to come out of this karma cycle. For that, our karmic tendency will force us to act. We have to change that default act to I will act only for pleasure of Krishna. I will act only as per Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. To change that by repeatedly changing it, by repeatedly countering our old conditioning, and to introduce the conditioning as per Guru, Sadhu and Shastra is called austerity. Austerity has a meaning. You can say austerity is like changing our default programming of our mind, how we see things. Conditioned way, we see the world in one particular way, we see people in a particular way, we see opposite sex in a particular way. There are conditioned ways of seeing. When you hear Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, then if you want to follow what the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra says, then you have to set this new way of seeing, thinking, feeling. The new way of thinking, feeling as per dharma, that's called dharma. Even on material principles also, forget transcendental. Material principles of dharma also gradually detaches one from this material nature. Dharmic principles are designed like that. So King Uttānapada has taken, now I have become old, I should not be continuing to rule. He became detached from all his kingly powers and handed over to Dhruva Mahārāja. And then he retired completely in order to take care of his soul. So there is a gradual process, brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha. Then sannyasi is a big jump. And that is where in sannyasi you follow very strict vows to change our entire mentality from devotional mentality to from fruity mentality to devotional mentality. So anyone who does not understand these progressive stages of life that is prescribed in the Vedas, as Prabhupada says, politicians in India, they never give up till they are thrown out by another political party. Whether one is a Raja Rishi or anybody, it is simply a role that is played for some time in one's life according to his karma. Ultimately, if he has to achieve the purpose of human life, he has to give up all attachments and completely become attached to Krishna. And what is the duty of a sannyasi? When somebody takes sannyas, then he is continuously reading, hearing, preaching, continuously serving the Lord by his words, mind, deeds. As Prabhupada is saying here, that we are, because of the Nama Avatara, we are in a very fortunate situation where even without the stages of all those gradual stages is called Pravritti Marga. gradual stages of human consciousness evolution, of going through different ashramas and getting detached, a very slow process. The Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this Kali-yuga, all these things are not very effective. Effective means it should produce detachment. It's not very effective in producing detachment. So there is a much easier and effective way. That's why it's called Yuga Dharma. Chanting the holy names of the Lord. At whatever stage one may be, one should immediately begin chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is a medicine for Kali-yuga. Not brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, all these things, yes, we will follow to set example to the world. Otherwise, they will completely deviate. Our method is to train ourselves to be the servant of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is about Sankirtana. He did not stress. He stressed only Sankirtana. He stressed only that you live as a servant of Krishna, wherever you are. That's the most important thing. Chant Hare Krishna, preach Hare Krishna, read Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavatam, spread the message. Automatically detachment will come by the power of hearing the holy name of the Lord. So it is not that when we see all these regular methods, standard methods of pravritti marga or the Vedic way of self-purification, it is not applicable in this age unless it is supported by Sankirtana. It's not that these things are not, they are irrelevant. This Varnāśrama is irrelevant. Prabhupada talked a lot about Varnāśrama. Why? Because the Varnāśrama system will be effective on people who chant Hare Krishna. The purpose of Varnāśrama will become very effective as per the original purposes in the Vedas. For those who chant Hare Krishna, those who associate with the holy name, those who worship the holy name, then Varnāśrama becomes very relevant. The world can be organized according to Varnāśrama system. So in terms of saving the people, saving the suffering souls in this material world, Srila Prabhupada wanted the society to be organized according to the Vedic Varnāśrama system. Because it is favorable for chanting Hare Krishna. A dharmic life, a Vedic life is favorable for making advancement in japa, making advancement in love of Godhead. It is favorable. But that is not what gives you love of Godhead. What gives us love of Godhead? What gives us liberation from this material world? What gives us detachment that is expected of all these various stages of gradual detachment? All these things are easily achievable by the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So therefore we see here an Acharya like Srila Prabhupada. He set up this International Society for Krishna Consciousness first and foremost function is to introduce the chanting of Hare Krishna in the life of people. Then later on, Prabhupada, towards the end of his Leela on this earth, manifest Leela on his earth, his Leela continues even now in an unmanifest way, but Leela is manifest Leela. In his manifest Leela, towards the end of his manifest Leela, Prabhupada wanted this Varnāśrama also to be added, along with the most important thing being the Sankirtana. Why? Out of compassion for the world, for the jivas in this world. Prabhupada wanted Varnāśrama. Doesn't mean he wanted the Varnāśrama of the Krishna-less Varnāśrama, social system. Therefore, our Varnāśrama that we understand, we call it as Daiva-Varṇāśrama system. Krishna is the center of all the ashramas. There is a certain school of thoughts who take all these Varnāśrama system as per our scriptures, and they also go through all these smartas, they go through all these different stages, which is designed to get somebody totally detached. Regulated sense gratification eventually detach one from sense gratification. So all these are rules, with rules and regulations, human being is guided. So they think that will give them mukti. That doesn't give them mukti. Only Mukunda can give mukti. It is dry. He is like zero. Being a vanaprastha, sannyasi, grahastha, brahmachari, strictly without Krishna is like zero. One has to be there. And first Prabhupada introduced one to the whole world, Sankirtana, chanting Hare Krishna. Then towards the end, Prabhupada said, no, please add zeros to it. So this Varnāśrama is also like that. This if you can't add zero, don't give up one. Most important. First is to see that every devotee's life, holy name is there. And every day he associates with the holy name, then it can easy to engage one's prarabdha karma, dovetail it according to the nature of the prarabdha karma. And then is guna karma. Chaturvanyam maya shishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. Then that division can happen. Both the soul is taken care, the body-mind system is also taken care. Through proper Varnāśrama system, following proper Varnāśrama system, body-mind is taken care, the soul is not taken care, what is the use? Body-mind is taken care means body-mind should be in a favorable situation to support my soul's journey back to Godhead. So in that sense, if you see, this Krishna Consciousness movement, because of the Holy Name's incarnation in our lives, Krishna Consciousness movement is an exemption, an exempted way of life, where we introduce Krishna in our life, worship Krishna Nama in our life. There is rapid purification of our heart, Cheto Darpana Marjana. In the process of Pravritti Marga, there is no guarantee that your heart will be cleansed. It is favorable. Suddenly you can get attached. You can fall down. miserably. Whereas in our system, as long as we are chanting Hare Krishna, however tottering our walk towards back to God, it may be falling down, this, that, everything, it's all rectified with time. It's all rectified with time. With time, detachment will come. Detachment means detachment from all the stories that I am this body and other people are their bodies. That is detachment. Detachment from the story. Of course, death always detaches us, puts it in a new body, and a new story begins, centered around I am this body. So this life after life, different stories we create. For what purpose? Because the soul is hungry for Satchidananda. Being hungry for Satchidananda, the soul is trying to satisfy his hunger for Satchidananda. The whole world activity is all, every living entity is trying for Satya, Chit and Ananda, but in a perverted way. Because only by associating with Krishna directly as a part and parcel of Krishna, our Satchidananda is complete. So what a great opportunity Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has gifted to this world in the form of bringing down the holy name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, where we don't have to know all this Pravritti Marg. We are followers of the Vedas, no doubt. But whatever we Vedesya sarvair aham eva vedya vedanta krit veda videva chaham. That is our approach towards Vedas. It is meant for good karmis, to elevate their consciousness. Of course, today even those karmis are not there. There are no karmis at all. All vikarmis are there. They have their whimsical way of living. Living for sense gratification. Sense gratification is the only goal in life for everybody now. Liberation is not a goal in life. They don't even think of it. What will happen to me after death? They don't even think of it. Such a miserable state of existence it is. That is not the way human society is supposed to be. Just see Uttānapada's human society. Oh, I am born for this. My job is over. I handed over, now I have to think of my soul's further journey. He is not thinking his body is all in all. His body is already grown old. Anyway, I will be cut off from everything in existence that I related with in this body as mine. I will cut off from everything. I will be forcefully cut off. One night I very intelligently cut off before I get that shock and get detached. Practice detachment. That practicing detachment is where one gets vanaprastha and then one takes sannyas. So all these things we have to see, everything that is there in the spirit of the essence of all dharma as Sankirtan dharma, as the holy name, worship of the holy name is what sustains the purpose of Vedas in this Kali-yuga. So in a way we are so much saved, the crowded, Krishna says in the Bhagavad, tells Arjuna, the flowery words of the Vedas, it's like a forest of, instructions for forests of desires, forest of regulations. Now human population, they got forest of desires, no regulation. This is the situation. That's the only difference. So main thing is to preach Krishna consciousness, to introduce chanting of the holy name from whatever position one is there, to practice the principles of Krishna consciousness, sadhu sangha, taking prasadam, engaging in worship of Tulsi Maharani, all that Prabhupada has given. Any family who takes up all these things. Yesterday I was telling that there was no shortage of anything in this temple for 40 years. Any family members who all chant 16 rounds, take only Krishna Prasadam, read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that house also will be like a Vaikuntha. This is the power of the holy name, not only temple, not only ISKCON temples. This is the meaning Prabhupada says, every town and village, everybody should be encouraged to have Gaur Nitai in their house, worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Sankirtana, by Japa. So, such a simple process. So, this is the essence of our preaching Krishna consciousness. As per your karma, where you are, you be. And engage in this association with the Lord and life will become successful. You will burn out all your karma and towards like Uttānapada, towards the end of the person's, when he is old, automatically there is no deep attachment in any of these things. By then he is already attached to chanting Hare Krishna. Whole life he has chanted, reading, hearing. His taste has become so much that he has no taste for all these things. It's all over. It was simply a journey. My family life was only a journey. Nobody is mine. Wife is not mine. Children are not mine. Wealth is not mine. Nothing is mine. Only Krishna can be mine. That is the result of a person, a family who molds themselves according to Prabhupada's directions of sadhana. He does that. Simply the whole family will get liberated. Such power the practices given by Srila Prabhupada is having to change the whole world just for these few things. And so much of duty we all have as Prabhupada's disciples to gift this to the world. In a sense, in India it's easy to preach because still that cultural impact is there of Sanatana Dharma. So more or less lot of these rules and regulations which are there in the Vedas, people are aware of due to the culture. Simply we introduce chanting Hare Krishna, immediately they take up to Krishna consciousness. And then it's very easy for somebody to practice Krishna consciousness. Association is very important. That is the only thing that is In the outside family, and if you see inside in Krishna Consciousness movement temples, in the movements of the temples of Hare Krishna movement, you will see here there is a plenty of opportunity for association. Whereas at home, limited opportunity. That is the reason why the family should be related, should be connected with the temple. Where there are so many Vaishnavas who are practicing Krishna consciousness, you associate with them. You associate with the classes that come from the online every day. All these things will, by taking full advantage, Prabhupada said, I have created this International Society for Krishna Consciousness in order to give an opportunity for association for the people of this world to associate in Krishna consciousness, associate for Krishna consciousness. And that is where it is very relevant that we establish more and more temples. Srila Prabhupada established more and more temples to be a center where very nicely we design association for these families who actually take to chanting Hare Krishna. Our duty, temple's duty, to support their Krishna conscious practices, advise them, teach them, counsel them, not for their material problems. Counsel them by giving spiritual solution to material problems. When there are increased material problems, you tell them, increase your japa. Increase your quality of japa. When a man is in a fix, he will do whatever he wants to solve the problem. That is the time we can tell them to depend fully on Krishna and chant. Surrender to Krishna and chant. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Like the way holy names is on its own sufficient to purify a person.
On its own?
Sufficient to purify a jiva and go back to Godhead. Like there is no need for deity worship, there is no need for taking diksha. Holy name itself is sufficient. But then the acharyas have brought these practices at a certain stage in the life of the sadhaka to introduce diksha, introduce deity worship. So similarly, can we also interpret that Srila Prabhupada intended to bring Varnāśrama at a certain stage in the evolution of the association of Krishna conscious association in the society?
So that?
The practice of chanting will become more favorable. Is that the understanding?
Yes. Your first question is whether the chanting of holy name alone is enough for everything. Yes. But offenseless chanting. If you see, all the other things are designed in such a way that it's an antidote to the 10 offenses. If you are talking about Varnāśrama, you will see that it will help one to free from some of those offenses. So like that, the answer is yes, but how to come to the stage of offenseless chanting? Chanting itself can bring one to the stage of offenseless chanting, no doubt. It is fully self-sufficient. It doesn't need any of these supports. But it becomes easier because we have got a lot of baggage. So baggage gives us a drag. Our karma drags us. There's a dragging force. None of us are free from that force. And no doubt, even the holy name has got the power to counter that drag. In any case, we are not 24 hours chanting Hare Krishna. So all the other times the dragging will be there. So if somebody can chant 24 hours, means Kirtanya Sadahari, he doesn't need any of these things. Varnāśrama he doesn't need. But otherwise, all these support systems are given by Srila Prabhupada. They are only support systems for some time. Ultimately, one has to get the support system of the Nama himself. That sense of surrender to the Nama does not come. One will mechanically be chanting. One will still depend on bank balance. One will still depend on relatives will help me. One relative, so many things. And then we'll be chanting. So if somebody seriously practices japa, then everything is included in it. Other things are a practical implementation of what is realistically possible for the masses. Individually, if somebody is determined, take shelter of the holy name, enough, everything is enough out of that. As a preaching movement, we have different levels of instructions. Prabhupada has given different levels of instructions. Something is better than nothing. As far as devotees who are full-time missionaries are concerned, Prabhupada expects high standard. Their level should be high. Because Prabhupada has given all the facility for us. We don't have to eat, you don't have to worry about where you will eat, where you will sleep, nothing. No anxieties of existence. Nobody in this world is freed from anxiety of existence. Whereas those who are full-time missionaries are completely freed from the anxiety of material existence. So what is that? It is a great, advanced liberation. In the material world, the biggest thing is what you call as bondage is you have to survive yourself. When you are kids, okay, parents take care. Slowly as you become adult, then you're on your own. So therefore there is a high expectation. In return to that, we have to take the chanting of the holy name very seriously. Take advantage of the situation and get attached to the holy name. Develop detachment, get attached to the holy name. Then we are a little better off than those who are congregations who are very entangled. We can give them association. We can give them relief by associating with them, by talking to them, by preaching to them. Ultimately, this is a movement of the holy name. That's why it's called Hare Krishna movement. This is not a Varnāśrama movement. It's a Hare Krishna movement. One should understand the essence of Acharya's instructions. Varnāśrama is there or not there. Chanting Hare Krishna goes on, the movement will survive. Yeah.
Prabhu, can we also understand that if at a certain stage in development of ISKCON institution, to organize the society in a better way, Varnāśrama system is required? Is it like a extrapolation of the Sadhu Sangha in a higher level?
Yes, definitely. In order to support Sadhu Sangha, if the Varnāśrama is the best social organization. Society, the moment the society comes, a society needs Shudra force, Brahmana force, Kshatriya force, Vaishya force. A society. Society means group of people. A family is also a society. So, social organization consists of these four forces, social organization. Now let's say this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, our temples, we are a society. There's a social organization. So in this social organization, automatically after our initial, when somebody joins, then we don't see his guna, karma and all. We have to take him through the training of serving Krishna beyond guna, karma. That is why we put everybody to wash the pots. Please learn devotion service is beyond guna and karma. But after that value is understood, then the forces of guna karma are there. So we see, automatically people according to their nature, they fall in different slots of services. Need. It's a need of the society. So even within the society, we have got all these four engagements are there according to guna and karma. It is happening. Otherwise you cannot run. If there is no Kshatriya force in this temple, then it cannot run. If there is no Brahmana force, it cannot run. If there is no Vaishya force, it cannot run. Whether that is, let's say we are having lot of, how many employees are there? So many blue-collar employees are there. If they are there, if they are not working, will the temple run? No. The society needs all of them. We need them. Brahmana is required. Full-time devotees are required. Financial experts are required. Administrators are required. It's all there. Who is doing who? Take the whole, what is happening in the four walls of Hare Krishna hill. All these forces are there. Any other question? Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.